Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to All the Mods 6. So since last episode, I've done just a little bit of work around our Elementalcraft area. I also did some mining because we were about out of gold, and I went ahead and mined up a little bit of iron as well, and inert crystals, just to get our stockpile back up, because we're going to be using quite a few today. Also in each area, I did go ahead and add some item frames on the chests, and I went ahead and changed over chests to a lot of the quark type chests. So we have the birch. Over here we have one that's made out of nether brick for fire. The earth one, we have these mushroom chests. And I did get all of our improved elemental binders set up for automation. I did get the element containers laid out, but I don't have gem stations just yet. I just haven't got around to it. And then over here for water we have prismarine, since we did find those underwater prismarine mine shafts or whatnot. Those flooded ones, I had vein mined one of those a little bit. And what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be turning our attention over to Elementalcraft's spells, runes, and shrines. Because a lot of this stuff, especially some of the spells and some of the shrines, some of this stuff's going to help us out a lot. Like a whole lot. So what we're going to do, I think we're going to start off with spells first, and then we'll just kind of make our way around to these different things. Now, before we get rolling on spells, let's pop over to the village, and let's grab ourselves a bunch of inert crystals, and let me go ahead and get some gold also. And we're going to go ahead and put in a stack. We're going to go ahead and just do a full stack of inert crystals into each of our crystal chests. And go ahead and get that running there and over here. Go ahead and get those being made. And actually, I think, let me pop over real quick to the village. We may not have gotten any scrolls. Oh yeah, we did. We got Scroll of Ender Strike. That's the only spell that we got, though. So let's pop back over, and we are going to get ourselves a couple things here. First up, we're going to get a focus. Hardened handle for this. So stick, white rock, air silk, and earth crystal. And that's going to be done over here. Get one of these also. So it is for the hardened handle, stick, rock, silk. And then the earth crystal. And we'll go ahead and get that ran. So there's that. And I'm going to go ahead and take these also. And then it's just going to be diamond, contained crystal, and a little bit of swift alloy. So that. And there's our focus. And then we are going to get ourselves a spell desk. This right here. Okay, so bookshelf and lectern. And then we'll get our spell desk. There's that. And we're going to go ahead and just set this up probably somewhere neutral-ish. So we'll set it over here, like right there, I think. And we need to complete a quest for the spell desk. And then, of course, they want us to make some scroll paper. Now, this is just going to be paper, air crystal, and ink sac. So there we go. And let's go ahead and just get ourselves to start like 16 scroll paper. And, oh. That just auto-completes. Oh, that might be an issue with the quest, because I know I don't have all of these. But it doesn't really matter because there's no reward for these. And then lastly, we're going to get ourselves an Elementalist Grimoire. So this is going to be scroll paper, a little bit of air silk, some leather. And then let's go ahead and we're going to make our Elementalist Grimoire. And we got a quest completed here. We're going to get an XP level. And the War Staff, we'll get this later. I don't have the spare Firelight just lying around to do this. But with this, we can cast spells. It's a melee weapon. You can also infuse it to give it sharpness, looting, fire aspect, and extra attack speed, as well as applying a reduction to your spells. This thing is really, really nice, and we will be getting that. a little bit later. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take our Elementalist Grimoire, we're going to open this up, and we can store, you can see, up to 100 spells in this. Now, there's not 100 spells, but we'll be able to store basically more or less infinite spells into this. Now, most of these spells are pretty straightforward. Gravel Fall makes gravel that falls. Stonewall makes a stonewall. Fireball makes a fireball. Item Pool is magnet. Ender Strike lets you, teleport, and like teleport up to a mob, and you get a little bit extra attack damage, kind of like a sneak attack. Animal Growth makes baby animals grow, and so on. So, I'm not going to be going over what all of these do. But what I want to do, if you take a look at these spells, they're going to say they consume a certain aspect. And we're going to focus on just a couple spells in particular that I do really, really want. First up, I would like to get some air spells. So what we're going to do is we are going to take our scroll paper over to our spell desk. We're going to put this in. So what we're going to do is, for example, I want the speed scroll. So we're going to take a look here. You can see it takes a pure crystal and a pristine air gem. Oof. So that means we are going to be running this little thing again. I feel like I want like a whole little line of these. And we'll probably set these up for automation at some point just by telling it like, when items come in, if it's not a pristine air gem, it goes into here. If it's a pristine air gem, it doesn't get pulled out. And then it'll just cycle with our crystals. But this might take us a little bit. Now, let's see. I also want to get... Animal Growth could be good. Oh, and that one's actually really easy for us to get. Just because I'm thinking with bees, we could instantly grow our bees up to adults. Oh, and some of these, I don't know how many pristine gems I want to go for. Okay, that one I can do fine. Oh, we got a pristine, actually. Okay, I'll take that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shoot for a fine. So, back over to here. The speed scroll. We're going to put in that. We're going to put in that. We are going to put in that. And you can see this recipe here can either make speed or translocation. We're going to be taking speed. There we go. We'll just store that into there. Okay, there is a fine air gem. So for dash, that's just going to be a air crystal. That. And this is going to make either item pool, dash, or ender strike. We're going to take dash. Of course, we already got ender strike. Air's got a lot of nice spells. Now from fire, I would really like to have Fireball or Inferno or Flame Cleave. Flame Cleave's a little bit more like a melee spell. I think I want to go, for right now, with Fireball. Oh, and this actually doesn't even take a gem. That's awesome. We can just use a straight diamond for that. So we'll go ahead... There we go, and actually I'll get Inferno and Fireball for that matter. Now as far as the rest of the spells, healing I'm not that worried about because we have this. I mean, we have like ridiculous healing. Translocation is good, but Pristine Air Gem, I'm going to wait. Silk Vein with Vein Mine, that's useless. But I do think that I want Animal Growth. And this is basically just going to take a diamond because whatever gem we end up with is good enough for us. So let's take our Crystallizer over to the water area. And now if I get a pristine, you better believe I'm going to be running it again for something not quite so good. But let's see. Stonewall, maybe, but I don't want... Stonewall could be good for certain situations, but I don't think anything in... Really? Really? Is this real life? Actually having to run this again because we got crazy, insanely lucky and got a pristine on the first try. Oh. Man, last episode it took me forever to get a pristine air. Like, we're having a lot more luck today. Okay, there we go. Crude. Okay, so that, and there is our animal growth. Purification. I don't know if this pack has any of the, like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, any of the, like, the really long, super annoying status effects. Yes, I could get it, though, just to have it in case something does come up. It'd be better to have it than not have it. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get Purification. Alright, so we've got 7 different spells in here, all of which are pretty nice. And so at this point, what we're going to do is we are going to make ourselves a element holder. Now, we don't have any earth spells. Why don't we have any earth spells? Is there anything that we want? Silk Vein, not really. Gravel Fall, not really. Stone Wall, not really. Tree Fell, not really. Because earth is one that gets replaced. Half their spells get replaced just by having Vein Miner. So, assuming that you have something with Silk Touch, which we do. And Gravel Fall is kind of meh. Stone Wall is good, like defensive, but we got armor now, so I don't know. We'll need that. But basically, if we wanted to cast spells, we would need an element holder of each element that we're going to be using. So in this case, we would want fire, we would want water, and we would want air. However, there is the pure element holder. This is going to take a little bit of fire type. It might be worth going ahead and getting this, though, because I don't want to have to carry around 3 of these. But let's go ahead. We're going to make ourselves one of these, and this gives me a great chance to use these up. 3 of these sitting around with 0 purpose whatsoever at this point. No, I got 4 of them. That's right. And then we can go ahead and get, there's a fire element holder. There's our water, air, and earth. And we're not even going to mess with these. We're just going to go ahead and place them down onto their respective pedestals. And then to get the pure element holder core, we're going to need 4 fire tight. Plenty of netherite. Well, I'm actually running through some netherite, though. Like, we had quite a bit last episode, but making those improved element binders and needing 2 netherite per on those, it ate through it pretty quick, actually. Okay, so it's that, and then the swift alloy. Okay, and then we'll just toss all that into there, and that's going to start running that. And that's going to take just a second to craft. And then we'll need 1 additional pure crystal for the very center of that. And looks like we completed this quest. We get 300 XP. Alright. All this XP is going to be useful because we're going to be doing some enchanting before long. And then while that's running, let's go ahead while we wait and get our Rune Inscriber. Go ahead and get that, and then we'll get into a little bit of runes before we get into shrines. Shrines are my personal favorite. And speaking of shrines and shrine-like things, we're going to be starting into pedestals before long. So just a heads up. You know, I talked about it early on in the series, and been looking forward to getting into it, but just kind of, there's a lot of different directions that we can go. Let's go ahead and grab this. Let's get this. And let's get this. That's another benefit of waiting until you knock out progression, is because having to carry around multiple element holders, not all that fun. Okay, there is our pure element holder. Woo! Okay, now this thing, I'm actually going to be using and setting up some sources for us to actually have like an area where we are meant to gather. Honestly, it's going to be right in here, so I can go ahead and put the earth one, if nothing else. And these are going to be ones that don't have all this other stuff on it. It's just going to be dedicated to just having our different sources laid out. So we'll go ahead and put the earth one down. And then I'll get the others. But and I'll just set that there. And what we can do is we can take the pure element holder and we can hold right click. And if you take a look, you can see that we've drained 7% earth from this. So we'll just continue holding it until we get our earth all filled up. It does take a minute, and you will have to come, back over here to refill your element holder ever so often. But it's a small price to pay to be able to cast lots of spells. And of course, I have the one element where we have no spells for. So, and you'll know it's finished like here in a second. There we go. It stopped pulling back like a bow, meaning that our earth is now at 100%. And then we have to do the same with the other 3 elements. Okay, so I got this fully charged, and I think instead of doing it with this, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Just because we may as well, let's go ahead. If I have to go farm more netherite, like for runes, I will. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to go ahead and make the staff, I think. Let me go pop over and get some more diamonds. And I think this is the last of my diamonds, but I think it should be enough for today. I'm going to have to go diamond mining again. And before we make our fire type for our staff, we're going to go ahead and do just a little bit with runes, and we'll come right back to spells. But that way I can kind of show this off a little bit. And if you take a look at the runes, you'll see different effects. There's the Foos rune that gives you plus 30% speed, minus 5% element preservation. And when you're looking at the runes, basically speed is going to increase the speed that it processes. And these will be applied to pretty much any of these type little machines. And element preservation is how much element it takes. So if you have, for example, plus on element preservation, it's going to take less element energy. If you have minus, it's going to take more element energy. Now the Foos rune, because element energy, it's not... Okay. Element energy is not that important because it's, once we get a bit of this ran out, it's pretty much like an infinite resource to us. So we're not that worried about it. But having extra speed is quite nice. Now another thing to keep an eye out for is like luck. And you can see, for example, this one, Claptrap's rune, it's limited to 1. Bombadil's limited to 1. Scene Tick's rune is limited to 1. Now these are going to be major runes for like the luck and the speed. No, there's a higher speed, right? Yeah, 50% on the Zod rune. And this is going to take pristine fire gem for that. I tell you what, we already have a pristine water. There's 2 in particular that I would like to get. Over here. Let me go ahead and try to get a pristine fire real quick. And I believe to make the major runes, that's going to take fire type to get 4 of them. So let me go ahead. I'm going to have to pop into the nether and get, get a little bit, like 1 more thing of ancient debris. That'll be a good time to be able to showcase another really nice thing. Okay, I finally got a pristine fire, so we're going to go ahead and take that. Oops, there we go. And these 2, well, this one over here, these are going to be really the only 2 that we're going to be using to make runes, because this is our luck and this is our speed. These others really aren't that important to us because we don't really care much about element preservation. So maybe if you're doing runes out the gate, it can help because you're kind of struggling a little bit more with element, but we'll be just fine on element. Let's go ahead, take that. We're going to get 4 major rune slates. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come over, let's see, to get the Zod rune, that's going to be on the fire. Let's go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to hold on to it for just a moment here. We're going to take our Rune Inscriber and we're just going to place this down. We're going to take our rune, one of our rune slates, and just right click it onto there. And then to get the speed, it's going to be 2 blocks of coal and the pristine fire gem. We're going to place these down onto there, and then we're going to get ourselves a chisel, then our air silk and earth crystal. And I'm going to go ahead and actually just go ahead and make 2 of these while I'm at it, because we're going to need another one here in a moment. Okay, so there we go. There's our hardened handles. And then there is our rune inscription chisel. Okay, so we're going to come over and basically we're just going to hold right click it takes a minute to craft this, but there we go. And apparently, runes are in the same boat, where it gives us all of them for getting one of them. So we get an XP level, XP level, XP level, but that's fine because most of these I'll never use. It's basically this one and this one. So I don't care about element preservation. But we got ourselves our Zod rune. And so what we can do is we can come over, I'm going to be using it on this improved element binder because crafting fire type, we've been doing a lot of it lately and it takes a while. So we're just going to right click, shift right click that on there. And you can see that it kind of starts rotating it around, kind of like Botania Sparks do. And now if we were to take and we put in this, and these, you'll notice that it's going to start crafting. And it's going to be quite a bit faster. So these are still going to take a little while, but remember that with this rune, with speed rune, you can apply multiples of these. But you can put in multiples of these so you can keep stacking the speed up to extremely fast amounts. So this is quite a bit faster now. It's not one of those like, okay, I'll come back here in a minute kind of things. Like, it actually crafts at a pretty decent rate. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pop over to here and we're going to put down our Rune Inscriber again. And we're going to put in that, and let's see, for luck, it is 2 emeralds. Okay, so let me pop over and get a couple emeralds here. And we're going to put these right into there, and then just hold right click. Now there's really only 2 machines that the luck rune is going to be of any benefit to. And they're the 2 that you would probably suspect. First up is the ore purifier. So normally, you know, we get 2 of these ore chunks every time that we purify, but if we use luck, we have a chance to get a 3rd one. Now the other machine, and this is going to be the one that we use it on first, is the gem Crystallizer. So if we take this and we right click it onto there, it's going to give us a better chance now that we're going to get a good rune. Now this one is limited to only 1 per machine. So 300% luck is the most that you're going to be able to get. But at this point now, we can try to get another pristine gem. And without putting in shards, you know, it's not, I mean, I'm getting fine a lot more commonly. But it's not going to be like a super chance. But when you start adding in, if we're running, say, powerful water shards, it's going to increase the chance that those provide by quite a bit. You can see I'm generally getting fine water gem. Actually more than I'm getting crude. So that means that my chance for getting the pristine probably went up from like 5% to maybe 10%, you know. Okay, I'm not sure about the gem crystallizer. It seems kind of weird because I've went through like 40 water crystals, like no joke. Because I ran another half stack through this and got some from over there. So I don't know for sure. I'm going to just break this off. And that way we get our rune back. I don't know, I feel like, I mean, I'm getting fine gems almost every time, but I almost feel like it is, the way it's changing the weights with luck, it's making it so fine is more common. Pristine seems almost non-existent at this point. Because where it should be like 1 in every like 20 runes, it could have just been really bad luck on my part as well. That's also a possibility, but I was having no luck for some reason getting the pristine gems, whereas if I don't have any upgrades in there, it seems to work a little bit better. But what I really want this for anyways is the ore purifier, so we're going to put that in, and that way we're going to get a chance for 3 ores. Now at this point, actually I do need to pop over and get my netherite sight, and then let me just pop into the nether real quick. And I'm going to go get at least 1 ancient debris, maybe a few. Okay, there's a little bit of our ancient debris. And then, I've actually got a little bit more in this area. There's 10 ancient debris, that should be good. So I'm going to go ahead and just warp on back. And then if we take our ancient debris and we place it into here, let's see what we end up with running 10 ancient debris. how many netherite scraps we end up with. And of course we may not get lucky. Okay, we only got 20, but that one will proc. It's not like an insanely high chance or anything like that, but it'll give us a little bit more output on our ores, or a chance for a little bit more output. So let's go ahead and get our other fire tight. And then for the war staff, we're also going to need a diamond sword and everything else we've got. There is our war staff. Ooh. Okay, and now what I'd like to do, let me get 3 iron blocks, and let me get an anvil. There we go. And we're going to set this anvil up just right over here, like right in there, I think. And let's take our Elementalist Grimoire, and let's take out our spells. So let's take, for example, Fireball. And we take our War Staff, and we put that onto there. You can see War Staff now has Fireball. Let's go ahead and take that. And for example, if we come out, let's find something to shoot. Where's that? There he is. We come out here, we can shoot him with a fireball. It does explode, so just a heads up. And it burnt up my my item frame. And then in addition to being used as a wand, basically, we can also attack with it. And it does pretty decent damage as well. Now let's put another spell into this. Let's go with speed, for example. We take this, we take that. Now we have Fireball and Speed on the War Staff. And if you want to switch these, just hold Shift and scroll. And you can switch between spells and speed. We can pop that and we get a speed boost for almost 2 minutes and almost 2 minutes of haste. Which is quite nice. The cooldown on speed is 120 seconds, so you can cast it basically as soon as it comes off cooldown. You can constantly have speed and haste. And if you take a look inside of our pure element holder, you can see I used 4% of our air and 1% of our fire there to cast those spells. And then let's go ahead now and just add in all of our spells. So that, it's going to be 12 levels to put Ender Strike on there. Yeah. Oh, and this has the enchanting thing where we don't actually use the amount of levels. That's great. Purification, throw it on there. Animal Growth, throw it on there. Let's go with Dash. And then Inferno. Okay. So we have all these different spells here. Now it is a little bit to kind of scroll through these, but that's okay. Dash is only a 2-second cooldown, so that's pretty nice. Dash, it's going to allow us to do that. So basically slime boots. And what's nice is we can do this. So now we have basically a slime sling. Dash, really, really nice. Animal Growth, of course, makes babies into adults. It's going to be great for my chickens, and if it works with bees, I haven't tested it, but we're going to end up testing it before too long. So, Dash, Speed, it's going to be so nice. So nice. But I'm probably going to be eating through air. Actually, not that bad for how much dashing I was doing. It's not that bad. And worst comes to worst, we can always make more of these element holders and just store them in a backpack. And then, we'll have extra elements at the ready then. So I don't think Element Infusion will work, unfortunately, with our Atlantis armor, will it? Because I think, like, if I take this and I hit U, it comes up, and Atlantis armor does not come up. So I don't think that we can actually infuse it. Alright, now at this point, we're going to turn our attention over to the shrines. These are right here, and we're going to have to craft. This is basically the basic shrine. And I actually love these things. They all look a little bit different, and they have some really nice effects. Let's see. We'll start with one and just go from there, I think. And we're going to need some element pipes. Let's go ahead and get 2 crafts of those. And then let's get ourselves a shrine. So there we go. Quest completed. And we're going to get some XP. Oh, and this one actually doesn't complete everything automatically. Now there's a bunch of different shrines here. Most of these are pretty straightforward. This one collects items. This one grows things. This one harvests things. This one makes lava. I think it's from basalt, if I recall correctly. This one we're going to be getting into today. This one gathers up ores. Overload. I actually can't remember what overload does. I'll have to double check that. Interlock stops teleportation. Breeding, it does take food, so you do have to leave like food items, but it'll breed things for you. Wild grove is trees, right? And then fire, let me see. Fire sets fire to nearby creatures. Overload is a tick increaser, and wild grove is wildflowers. Well, we are going to be going for the Sweet Shrine. That's the one that I want today. So we're going to need water crystal, earth crystal, sugar, honey bottle, milk. So shrine, water, earth. And that's going to run, and that's going to make us our Sweet Shrine. Now this needs a source of water. Yeah, consumes water. So what we're going to do for that is, of course, we are going to make ourselves an element container. I'll tell you what, all this glass here, I'm just going to turn it into burnt glass. Oh, that crafts burnt glass so fast. And that's just with one speed upgrade, of course. Alright, so there's our element container. And while we're at it, let's get an element extractor also. I will end up upgrading that in due time. Okay, so there's our Sweet Shrine. Let's go ahead and grab that. And I do need to get a source of water. Just so happens I live in a swamp. So there we go. And we're going to pop over to our bees. Now, I'm not 100% sure this will work with resourceful bees, but we're going to find out. I don't see why it wouldn't, to be honest, because with resourceful bees, they are basically just like vanilla bees. So, I wish this rat would get out of the way. Okay. Set him over here. What we're going to do is we're going to set up our Sweet Shrine, and we're just going to have it setting like right here, and then we're going to have our pipe come out right there and plug into that. And if we watch, you can see my hunger is starting to go up automatically, and in addition our bees are going to spend less time out of the hive. Assuming that it's working on them. Like I said, I haven't tested with resourceful bees, but I don't see why it wouldn't, because they use a lot of the same. We're going to be setting up Sweet Shrines in all of our beehives for sure. So now let's pop back home, and I want to now turn our attention over to the upgrades. You can see there's quite a few different upgrades here. And there's a quest here for all of these. Now I think all of these are going to require shrine upgrade cores, and this is going to be Swift Alloy. Okay, so let me get just a little bit of Swift Alloy crafted up. I think this is going to be the next thing to get speed upgrade. And as far as the upgrades go, there's the Acceleration Shrine upgrade. Let's see, range and capacity decrease the speed of its effects. And increase its elemental consumption, efficiency, strength, optimization, which kind of boosts everything. You can see that one's limited to 2. There's fortune. This would be good for like the block breaker. The ore shrine, you could do fortune or silk touch there, and you can do up to 3 fortunes on that. The planting shrine plants back harvested crops. That's actually really, really nice. Boneless growth shrine upgrade can grow crops that don't accept bone meal. That's also kind of nice. So like netherwort, for example. Pickup shrine, and that instantly picks up all items within range. Nectar Shrine is kind of the one that I want, because it gives nectar to the bees instead of feeding humans, because we don't really need it to feed us. So stem crops can now be grown to fruit and only affect hostiles. What do we need for this? Oh, that's so cheap. So cheap. Okay, let me take this. This is single craft. Let me actually get 2 of these instead. Okay, so let's go ahead and get 2 shrine upgrades for now. This should be sufficient. And what we're going to do is we are going to make an acceleration upgrade. I'm going to need a crystal real quick also. And we're going to be making both an acceleration upgrade just to decrease the period a little bit. Now we can add additional ones of these, but as you can tell, there's no real downside to running that. But since the Nectar Shrine is going to increase the period by 100%, we'll want to decrease that just a little bit. Now the element consumption I'm not as worried about, because once we get improved over there, that's going to help out a lot, but this is going to make our base insanely fast, I think, especially once we have a little bit more acceleration on there, and we also increase the amount of element that's coming in. But okay, let's pop over. Okay, so there's that. Our Nectar upgrade and our acceleration upgrade. There's those. Oh, this is going to be great, because I don't need the food aspect of it at all. And it increasing the amount of time it takes to feed, it's not really a big deal for us. Looks like my rats broke again. We're going to be changing those out, though, so just a heads up. But we're going to take our Nectar upgrade and just click it onto there. And then we're going to take our period upgrade, our speed upgrade, and put it right there. Or actually, for this one, let's put it on the top. That way it kind of just rotates there. And so this is going to be now feeding the bees. It looks like it's nomming through some element though. But it's going to be feeding the bees and probably speeding them up substantially. Like if we watch for just a second. There comes the slime. Oh, there went the dirt back in. And there goes the stand bee. Emerald bee comes out. It's going to be like non-stop. Now at this point we really need to push for apiaries to really get our bees going crazy. Because that's going to decrease the time. Yeah, there went the slime. That's going to decrease the time they spend in the hive. And then of course we've got this decreasing the time that they spend out of the hive. Yeah, we're tapped out on element right now. So, I tell you what. Just because I can get away with it right now. And let me switch out like, yeah, this one right here. Because I'll be able to make another one of these. No problem. And let's go switch this out. That way we've got quite a bit more element going into that hive. Now hopefully we'll have enough coming in, because if we have enough element coming into this that we can run it with like 2 period upgrades, or 2 acceleration upgrades, it's gonna be madness in here. But I know those bees, man, those bees are kicking through it. So I'll just have to kind of let this run for a little bit and see if it builds up or not. If it doesn't, I can always add another element extractor in this room to speed that up, or I could add upgrades to the element extractor itself. So some of our runes, I could add those on to help it produce enough element to keep this thing running. Which might be what I do once I have more of the pristine gems, the pristine fire gems. But yeah, right now I'm actually having all bees have to go back to the beehive at the same time because they're just not spending very much time outside the hive. So our bees are definitely a bit faster, and like I said, we can still speed that up by adding more of the acceleration upgrades. That would make them spend even less time out. It'd basically just be feeding them nectar faster and faster. So can I get you to work again? There you go. Look at that. We're going to be trading these rats out, though. So I think that's the one that's supposed to be emptying this out and not doing a very good job at it. There we go. Now he's working, though. And just for fun, we can do this. That's going to be really nice, though. I can get... Whoa. I can get to that slime island to get rid of it really easy now. But at this point, we're going to wrap up this episode here and basically wrap up our initial Elementalcraft push. I mean, I've still got a lot of upgrading to do, and I can upgrade our shrines and stuff further. You know, there's still a lot of this stuff we haven't even touched yet. And we're actually going to be using some of this for kind of a quarry type setup before too long. But there's another mod that I need to push for what I have in mind. We'll continue to do quite a bit with Elementalcraft because I have a lot of plans for it. But this way, our initial push is out of the way. Now, shrines and various different machines, especially the furnaces and the ore purifier, stuff like that's going to come back up quite a bit. And we will be continuing to add some upgrades to our Elementalcraft stuff and building that area out a bit more, doing a bit with shrines, and we'll be using our spells quite a bit, I can assure you. Next episode, though, we are going to be switching over. If you recall, I mentioned that we were going to be tackling 2 magical mods, pretty much back to back. Elementalcraft, of course, being one. And then next episode, we are going to be doing a on-screen kind of build, just like the last time when we built the pyramid. We're going to be setting up a build for our next magic mod, as well as a couple other little things. I think we'll stick enchanting into that building, and probably a couple minor little things will be going into that building as well. But most importantly, it's going to house our next magic mod. So we'll get into that and get that building set up. I'm actually really excited to get started on that one because I have a plan that I think is going to turn out pretty nicely. So, but anyways, I hope you guys join me for that. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. And if you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.